This is brought to you by Chess and Gaming.
What is matrix chess? Matrix chess is based off the geometry of each piece. In matrix chess, a five-pointed star is representative of the queen's movement. And likewise, the knight is a diamond. The plus sign represents how the rook moves. And then there's the bishop. The bishop is an X. And lastly, we have the king. The pound sign represents the king. Before continuing on, there is one more thing you must know. Matrix chess advocates that the one who develops the queen earliest wins. So why not bring her out first? Now in this game that you're about to see is that both sides are matrix players. They determine their moves and strategy based off the geometrical chessboard. The problem here, though, is that white is too passive. So that's why I'm going to show you how black punishes passive play. The move played was bishop to h4. Now surely white could have taken on f6 instead of retreating, but now black just gains tempo, extra tempo, followed by pawn to e5. The idea for white here is to pressure the d6 pawn. White will castle queenside, adding more pressure to the pawn. However, black obtains an excellent position. After capturing the knight on f5, the c6 knight will post up on the d4 square. The correct move is rook captures knight on d4, but queen to h3 is a blunder. The rook on c8 now x-rays the pawn on c2 along with the knight on d4. Now pay close attention to how black uses the queen to attack the king and threaten checkmate. Again, this was white's last chance to trade queens, but because of stubbornness, it is white who ends up getting checkmated. And now the follow-up move is queen to b6, forcing the pawn to b3, and after queen a5, pawn to a4, and finally queen to c3 were the moves that were played. This is a variation of the Four Knights game. Black does get good pressure on White's king, but the problem is that Black gets in trouble when trying to attack with the queen. In this position, after White castles, the rooks are connected, all the pieces are developed. The move that Black just played is a big blunder. Now the queen will be lost. Now notice the geometry of the queen's movement. The queen will go to D2, and from D2 will go to D4. And from D4 will go to G1, supporting the pawn advances on the king's side. And it's only a matter of time before White delivers checkmate. Pawn to F6. Followed by queen to G7 check and queen to E7 checkmate. Now in this game you're about to watch, it is Black who's the matrix player. Black will use the geometrical chessboard to target the opponent's king. The idea of playing the pawn to C5 is to tempt White to take on C5 so the bishop on G7 will capture the knight on C3. Now let's take a look at the geometry of the pieces themselves. Bishop along the H5 to D1 diagonal. The knight having access to E4 only if the knight on C3 is captured. The queen having access along the D8 to A5 diagonal. And now the rooks are connected to target the C3 knight. After this move, the knight on D7 now posts on C5, gaining tempo. The idea of playing A6 is to follow up with B5 and then pawn to B4 to kick the knight on C3, so that Black will have perfect access to the E4 square. Again, let's examine the geometry of the pieces. Knight could possibly fork the two rooks by capturing on F2. The knight can sacrifice itself on C3. The knight on C5 can go to A4 with ideas such as knight to C3. White now forks the queen and rook. What move should Black play? Pause the video. I'll give you a few seconds. That is correct. Knight to C3 check. Now the A2 pawn is under fire. The king is in check, and after capturing, B takes C3, a discovered check. Knight takes B8. The correct move is queen to B4 check, followed by checkmate. In this game, it is White who's the matrix player. In this game, Black gets caught up in the matrix. Checkmate is unavoidable. white to move. It's a mate in 2 moves. However, there are 3 legal moves that black can make, but all 3 moves lead to checkmate in 2. Can you figure it out? What move should white make? The only right move is f8, pawn promotes to queen. King takes f8. Then bishop b4 is checkmate. If bishop takes f8, then bishop h4 is checkmate. And let's say black simply moves the king to d8. If king just moves to d8, then bishop a5 is checkmate. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for my next video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.